Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Planning has always been my way of working out problems and solving the day-to-day issues in my life. Join me as I experiment on how to best tackle projects, figure out how to stick with habit tracking, and celebrate the wins, both big and small. So grab a cup or a glass of whatevs and let's get on with the video. Hello planner friends, how are you? Okay, I have the windows open because it's burning fire in here and hopefully it's going to be okay. We might have to pause for for motorcycles or the occasional large truck. But look at this, academic planners are available and in demand over at the Walmart. I only found a few, like most of them were already gone at my Walmart anyway. And so in the US, we start school anywhere between like mid to the end of August, sometimes in September. There may be some schools that start in July. I've never heard of any, but it's a possibility. Okay, so I picked up these 3 planners. Now you may remember, if you've been following me for a while, that last year I picked up this guy, which was gorgeous because I can never say no to a butterfly. I have to take it home and, you know, make it mine. So this is gorgeous, and I had mentioned that when I was done and I archived this, I would possibly cut this off and make it into like a writing board of some kind. I'm sure you could punch a hole. Like this one is solid in the back, but the front one is slightly see-through. So this would make a really nice one, even though it has this, like you could cover it or you could probably peel it off. It's just not that serious, but I loved it so much. And the way this one looks, because it is an academic calendar, it's almost over. Let's see if I can show you August. Okay, I haven't set up August yet. We are at the end of July at the making of this video. So this is how the monthly looks. It is a Sunday start. I wasn't a fan of that, but you know, I got over it. And then the weeks look like this. And this was fine. But I thought I would try out a different layout for 2026 to 2027. So here's what I ended up finding. First of all, this one is really cutesy, and I thought it would fit really nice in my A6 Moiterm cover. I have been using the Pen Plus Gear notebooks in here that are like, they're under $2 at my Walmart, like maybe $1.50 or $1.60, something like that. And so here is the Hobonichi supplement. This is the weekly vertical that looks like this. And I have used this in the past like this. I've always kept like a chart of these little things I kind of want to fill out throughout the week. And so here is my reading, and then I had journaling, meal plan, audiobook, TV shows, movies, and then my steps. And then down here at the bottom were just a few other odds and ends, more like chores that I wanted to keep track of. And so I've always liked doing this with a vertical weekly because I've never been able to make a vertical weekly work out as a planner. It's just not who I really am. And so yeah, I thought, well, this looks about the same size. It's actually quite a bit taller and a little bit wider, which is not that serious, but it does fit in here, which is really nice. So yeah, there you go. It's bending slightly here, and that's probably because of the spiral rings that I have in here, but I'm sure if I maneuver it, it's not going to be that bad. It doesn't stick out of the bottom or the top. It's almost exactly the same size as the cover itself, which is funny and awesome. But I picked up this one. They had another one, but there were bright colors that scared me on the inside. Yeah, bright colors scare me. And then the outside was just crazy. It was like orange. It was like from the 1960s or something, and 70s. I was like, it reminded me of the Brady Bunch. You know, it was like a Brady Bunch planner. But this one was more muted tones. I really liked it. It didn't scare me, and I thought this is really nice. It matches with, you know, this and a lot of other things I have are usually like, things are usually a little bit more monochrome for me. I think it says on here, okay, so let me pull this up for those who are wondering. Those are the measurements there, which are 4.5 by 6.5. And so yeah, I'm going to be using this because I've fallen in love with these little notebooks. And so I thought, man, since they are lined, I wish they came in square or dot. They don't, to my knowledge, but I really like the idea of being able to have a monthly calendar to just look at this so I don't have to draw it out, especially on lines. Like, I'm a bullet journal person, but lines are like, you have to take out your ruler and you have to measure out things and blah, blah, blah. And that's a lot harder when you don't have a grid. So I just think that this is really nice, and I can go ahead and carry this for any monthly things. Again, it's a Sunday start. You know, and this is in the school section. Schools start on a Monday. Kids don't even go to school on weekends anymore. I don't think you can even, do you remember back in the day, because I'm an old person, when you got to be kept behind, I've only had to do it a few times, for Saturday, like, school detention. They don't even do that anymore. I think that's when the Breakfast Club was happening, was like a weekend or something like that. I don't think that they legally can keep you other than the days that you actually go to school. So why are we starting on a Sunday? That was like a long rant about, I don't even know. I just don't know. This is an easy fix, and I would recommend this for this calendar, and this one is also a Sunday. This one I believe is Monday. We'll check it out. It's an easy fix because you can just go through here, white this out or mark it out, and over in the notes section, add it over here. You will of course have to move these up, so you know the second will start here and then so forth, and then this can be your notes section, and it's just not that serious. You can even washi tape over it if you just don't even need a note section. You're like, who cares? I just don't want to be confused. So these rules aren't real. Don't worry about that. If you get something that has a Sunday start, it doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be, you know? And I actually, you know, didn't have any issues with this using the monthly. My brain was finally remembering that it started on an actual, if I can find it, on a Sunday, and it wasn't that serious. But what irks me about this is, although the months start on a Sunday, the weeks start on a Monday, which I want them to. But if you agree that we need to start on a Monday, then why the hell does the month start on a Sunday? Did I say that backwards? I apologize if I did. I'm just like so frustrated by it. Start on a Monday here as well as here, please. And thank you. Especially when you're in, like, this was all in the student section. And I imagine they could put any planner there, but I imagine they made more for this time of year. They're academic calendars. Therefore, they are for school. This starts on Monday. Okay, I'm over that. All right, so the next one I bought for my niece, and I kind of debated back and forth if I was going to buy the same one. She would have hated that. I would have hated that too. It's like, don't buy the same planner. But this one's quite a bit larger. So this size, I don't see the dimensions for. So I'll have to flash it on the screen if I find it somewhere. Maybe it's sometimes on this page. No, I don't see it. Okay, so this one is 7.75 inches by 9.75 inches for a comparison, and there's the difference in the height and the width. So this is a very nice size. I like that this is bigger because it means that I won't try to carry it with me, because I will try and it will fail, and I won't want to do it that way anyway, but you know, I digress. This one is really cute. It has a pocket. This is the 5-star. I think at some point we all probably had either a folder or a notebook or planner by this company. I know I have. So this is what the layout looks like. They give you a really nice example there of how you can use it. And in the beginning we get these class schedules. You get 4 of them: academic goals, personal goals, and then it starts in July, which we are currently at the end of because school starts mid-August for my niece. Actually a little bit earlier than that this year. So here's how the monthly starts, and it does start on a Monday. Thank you. You are correct. And then off to the side we have to-do lists here with little tick boxes, which is nice. This is a decent size to be able to fit a couple of things in there, like events. And then here is how the weekly looks. I might have to zoom in just so that you guys get a good picture of this. I can pull it up slightly. So it starts on a Monday, which I love. Interesting because it is for a school planner. It only goes till Friday in the vertical dailies. Down at the bottom, you get 1-2 boxes for Saturday and 1-2 boxes for Sunday. So they're really small and they're not vertical, they're horizontal. Now, again, these rules aren't real. It's an easy fix. If you chose to get this and you're like, well, Saturdays and Sundays, if you're like my niece anyway, she has 3 college classes as a junior. And so most of her weekends are going to be working on those classes. She does have some time throughout the week to work on them as well. but it's like you might want to schedule that on the weekend. And a lot of students are also in sports, and that's the time when they have like weekend practices and or games, so they might want to factor that into their planning. This might be enough, but I don't know. So up here where they have the subjects, you could absolutely just put your weekend here, or if you decided that Saturday or Sunday was your rest day, the other day could just go up here. So it's not that serious. These rules are not real. But the way it's set up is kind of like, here's your subjects or your activities. And this is what I'm loving, because we're going back to this guy here where I mentioned I like to break my categories across the week. So I could actually put reading here or writing, then my meal plan for the week across. You can do whatever you'd like. If my niece doesn't have these many subjects or activities she needs to work on, if it's just like homework in general, she can take up 2 boxes. And then the next one could be just for her college classes, 2 boxes. It's just not that serious. So again, I always have people be like, my planner doesn't work. I'm like, you make your planner work for you. Up here, I do like they have this little section here that says weekly focus, which is really nice. There's a little bit of space there. What else do I want to say about this planner? I mean, it's really nice. I don't know what these are for. Obviously, there's some type of app I might have to add on if I figure it out, where you can scan this and I guess upload it to save it, or so that you could have it digitally, which is really nice too. Yeah, 5-Star, I believe, has a whole thing about index cards, which is like that, where you can scan your index cards to make them digital, so they go with you where you go. So you can always have your planner with you. So that's probably what that is. Does it say on the outside? I might just be lying. Organize your year. 5-Star study app. Oh, it's a study app. Scan planner. Digitize assignments. Track and manage due dates. That's cool. So we'll see if she uses that and how that works. The only thing about this planner that's kind of a bummer is that's it. They don't have like a monthly overview or anything where you can write down your thoughts or your goals for the month. But a lot of times kids are just not going to get that together. You know, I like that there's a weekly focus, so it's almost like a weekly goal. You could put there as well for each week. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what sticky notes are for. So if you need more space, you can always use a sticky note to put your goals for that week or anything else that there's not space for. And you can always use the longer ones as well for that. Okay, so this ends in June. And let's see what's at the very end of the planner. Oh, so there's a couple. Got a couple pages of lined notebook paper, and then interesting enough, this is at the back, so your yearly overview is at the back instead of at the front, which is totally fine. Yeah, so that's cool. We got 2026, 2027, and that is everything. This is a cute little planner for, I think it was around $5. Not that serious. Now, for those people who are interested, I might have to take a moment and do a pen test a little bit later. This looks like very thin paper. I don't imagine like thicker pens that you might appreciate are going to do well on this, but it might surprise me. I know a lot of people don't mind ghosting because we've all kind of dealt with Tomoe river paper, but sorry, my phone rang. Anyway, it just depends on the person when it comes to the paper. All right, moving on to the last planner. This one's mine. It's a teacher's planner. I know, you're like, Sylvia, are you a teacher? No, but I liked the layout and that's why I chose it. I get a little nervous about these covers. I know that they're meant to be like inexpensive and kind of cheap, because this was also around $5. I think it was like $5.45 or something like that. And I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna cut myself on it every time I touch it. I haven't, and in truth, when I run my finger around, it's okay, but I just get scared. Anyway, so I told you the size of this, did I not? Yeah. So this is a larger planner. It's definitely a desk planner. It's really not meant to be taken with you, but watch Sylvia try, because she will. I might have to get a tote bag, a new one, just for this. Just kidding. So this is 2026, 2027 teacher planner. This planner belongs to. So in the beginning, we have our personal information here, and then we have the year over here that says birthdays and important dates, but you can put whatever you want here. And then we have our yearly overview for 2026 and 2027, and I'm bummed that it's not laminated or hard cardstock. It's just a piece of paper, because I like to take sticky notes and put like different projects that I'm working on to kind of figure out how long it's going to take me and move them around. I can still do that on paper, but it would be nicer if it was laminated. Fun fact, there are laminating sheets that you don't actually need a laminator for that you can buy. They're more expensive, but for things like this, I might, where you just peel it off, line it up, and put it on here, and it will only laminate one side if that's all you want. So stay tuned, maybe that'll happen. Over here, 2026 and 2027 holidays. This is a wash for me. I'm probably just going to cover this in sticky notes, or you can put pictures of, what's it called? I was going to say something else, like a vision board if you wanted to, or just your family photos. Any trips that you are going to take, gratitude. So this is pretty much open to anything you want. And I believe that this layout right here, 2 pages, is at the beginning of every month, which was why I was sad that it's not in here. But I love this because you can, I see the word curriculum getting used a lot now. When it comes to planning, instead of people saying, let's plan our monthly planning or whatever you want to call it, they're just saying the curriculum. So you could fit your whole curriculum right here. You could even go ahead and come back and fill this out after the month, which is something I also like to do instead of at the beginning, just your feelings and thought of how this month went. And I really like that. And then look how big and beautiful these boxes are. Yes, I love it. The only bummer is, once again, this is a Sunday start. Why, people? Why? And I get it. Some people are like, we like to plan on Sundays. Me too, for the whole week. But I don't need it to start on a Sunday. Does that make sense? I don't know. Whatever. And again, these rules aren't real. So once again, if you're new here, you can always change this. You can white out Sunday here and mark all of these out and move it over here to this column here. You just got to move these up. So the 5th would start here, and then, so forth and so forth. And then you can move this section over here to, well, not move it, but you can rename it rather to notes. And it's just as simple as that. So not that serious. These rules aren't real. Yeah, and I like that there's some space up at the top for me to write some things, like a couple of goals or things I need to be aware of. A sticky note can do the same thing, but sometimes I like to write it down. Okay, so this is why I purchased this, because once again, I love this layout. This is teensy, and I realized like I don't need to carry this with me every single day. I just need to fill it out at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. And so I don't mind it in this size. So instead of putting, like it says subjects and periods, I would put subjects here. So as a writer, I can put project 1, project 2, and project 3. So right now, my project 1 is in the 0 draft stage. And because I'm a crazy person, I was like, I can totally 0 draft this and give it to critique partners. It took a long time, and I worked on it every like 3 weeks. We switch pages, and it was really nice, and I'm glad I did it, but I was really panicked. Like, I'm at the end and I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't given it to them so that I could change some things, and it is what it is. And they're lovely about it, and we've all just written each other like little notes at the beginning of our pages saying this thing has changed. But yeah, so I had a project 1. I had a project 2 that I worked on throughout the summer. My niece and I wrote a novel together, and we've been working on that, which we are almost done with our 0 draft. So that's been awesome. And we woke up at 6 a.m. every morning, 6 days a week. Sometimes we had to shift our time to the evening if she had a plan or I had a different plan. But we wrote almost every single day this summer, which is pretty awesome. So this is a way I can track multiple planners, So this is a way I can track multiple subjects or projects across the week, which is kind of awesome. And then I can add other things here that might not matter as much, just like cleaning, and then what I spent an hour on or half an hour on cleaning. Not that cleaning doesn't matter, but as long as I do it, I don't know that I need to look back and see when I cleaned or what I cleaned that day, if that makes sense. So this is really cool. And of course, it's a Monday start, you guys. So again, I ask you, if it's a Monday start, why are we starting the month on a Sunday? You Sunday starters are ruining my life. I just don't understand. Whatever. And then it's funny because again, we have, and this is the struggle, and the struggle is real. However, since this is an academic planner, and my phone will not stop. Sorry, my phone again. What was I saying? This is an academic planner that starts on a Monday. And because of that, we don't have a Saturday or Sunday because it's a teaching planner. And I guess they think that teachers don't put time on their weekend away to do some like they grade homework. Am I right? I mean, I love it if our teachers could do Monday through Friday and have the weekends free, but I don't think that's always the case. And you always have that one teacher who doesn't get to a lot of stuff in the week because maybe they're too busy or whatever reason, and then their weekend is kind of full. Those weeks happen. So we have no Saturday and Sunday. So again, the way you can fix this is come up here and put Saturday and Sunday here, and then just have those days combined over to the side here. And it's not that serious. And that's something I had to struggle with when it came to this planner. And then it worked out and it wasn't that serious. I imagine if this was just a planner for everything, it'd be a problem. But since it's only for my writing, it wasn't that serious. So Saturday and Sunday, they share a little, you know, row over here, and then they get their own, like they divide it in half and then they have their own column. And I'm like, what if I wanted, like, what if you worked all week long and Saturday and Sunday were the only time you got to work on a hobby? You know, that happens to a lot of people. And I think the answer is, well, Sylvia, I wouldn't buy this one. And you probably would be right. But I tend to find some time to write on Saturdays and Sundays, so I'm kind of bummed about that. So it might vary how I decide to use this. I might try to use this as like a chart situation where I put all my projects and I just, you know, track them Monday through Friday because that's enough and I don't need the weekend. Like I can do like a weekend project. Is that fair? Or I might put Saturday and Sunday here and try to see how that goes. Also, because I'm awesome and you're awesome, you probably thought, well, Sylvia, you can turn this and you can just write your categories like reading here or project 1 or 2. You don't need a huge space to do that and still have Saturday and Sunday here. Haha, see, I fixed it. There is some space up here at the top, but not much. So for visual purposes, these boxes are smaller than this sticky note. Not too much. There's some overhang there. You could use these and they fit in there nicey nice. It's still crooked, whatever, Sylvia. And then up here at the top, you could use these if you needed like little removable notes to yourself, and they wouldn't cover any of the weekly with a sticky note. You can just keep these up there at the top. These are quite a bit larger, so that just like covers, do you know what I mean? Like in some planners, like this one, once I use Monday, I usually just cover it with sticky notes for the rest of the week. Like I'm just like, I have to put sticky notes here for the rest of the week. So that happens. And that's the same here for Monday as well. So like if you find that you have just the larger sticky notes, you can just cover Monday once it's over and it's just not that serious. But yeah, this is so lovely and I don't mind the size. I really don't. I'm excited for this. For those who are wondering, Sylvia, how do you go from these boxes that are quite large, they're very rectangular here except for these ones that are made into squares. Well, I honestly would divide this in half. I would make a line with pencil and I'd make them this size anyway. That's what I ended up doing because I was like, these are small and these are not the same size, and I was annoyed. And then I found it worked better that way because then I could make 1-2 columns like this. So of like to-dos, which worked better, or I could have to-dos on one side and notes on the other. So again, you can make these layouts work for you. So the fact that these are much smaller, I don't think it's that serious. I might be able, depending on how small I decide to write, but you could probably fit anywhere from 4 if you write pretty large, 3 or 4, to I would say 5 or 6 tasks in here. I think that's fair from the size. I tend to write on this size sticky note and fit it a nice amount. Like see, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have fit another thing in there, like another line if I had to, in the middle. So this is so cool. I love it too much. And I love how big all of the writing is and everything in here. It's just lovely. And I like the gray monochrome. It makes me happy. I also love, and one of the reasons why I chose these planners is that the tabs are all laminated. They had some that weren't, that were paper like this one, and this is like one of the things I do not love. I mean, I have a couple things I don't love, but the fact that this is just paper makes it harder. Like each one is just paper and they're all October, whereas these are specific tabs to the month. Does that make sense? And that's why I have these other tabbies on here. I did have the metal ones that look neater and cleaner, but since this is already colorful, I thought, what the hell not? Let's just put these on here. It's not that serious and I can see them, and it doesn't matter to me. This just sits at my desk and I fill it out and check things off throughout the day when I'm writing. All right, so let's get to the back because we know how all of the pages for the months look. This says communications. Okay, so pages in the back even have a nice little tab. And the first layout we have is student information. This is a little bit more difficult to cover. You can washi tape or white this out and then just make these categories whatever you want there. This one's easy fix. So this is communication log. So talking to students, I guess. Date, student name, reason, and then follow up. You can use this for, like, for me as a writer, because I write with a critique group, I could use this for that. So if someone asks me a question or something like about a book or a writing process, I can write it there. Classroom goals. So these are just writing goals for the year, which is nice. Professional development. So this is just a note page. So is that one. That's a very easy fix. You can put washi tape or just leave it alone right on the page. Who cares? So this one is substitute planning. How would I use this? People who can help. Oh, so again, like for me as a writer, I mean, you fill in the blank for whatever you want to use this for. But as a writer, I can go ahead and put people to contact if ever I have a question or I need a beta reader or something like that. That's what can go there. Things with stars are pretty easy. Like you can put books that you read that were really significant or books that you want to read that are going to help you with a writing project. They have the same kind of style and mood that you are trying to emulate. Notes back here, which is nice. What is this? Peek at the week. Oh, this is kind of cool, especially since you can just make your ideal week in the back here and what you want that to look like. This is blank. Happy birthday, and this one is had an amazing day today. Oh, that's really cute. These are also, well, this one is also perforated. Notes. Get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a nice amount. Times 2 because you're counting front and back, so 16. And then this is laminated, so sticky notes will stick to it fabulously. And that is everything, you guys. Okay guys, here is the pen test. I have to do this with my hand, so bear with me. So here is planner 1. This is the small one that's I don't know. It's close to A6, but not big enough to be B6. Can we say that? I think that's fair. And then if you turn the page over, you'll see that the play color dot, that's the circle right there, is, you know, got some ghosting there, but it didn't completely bleed through, so that's fabulous. Everything else did well, including the Tombow. So yay for that paper. All right, so on to the next one. I did exactly the same pens there. Hopefully it's focusing. There we go. And we'll turn the page here. I had to write it in kind of an obscure place since it's not my planner, it's my niece's, but she told me I could, so that's okay. Nothing, not even with the play color dot. I can't even tell where it is. Can you tell where it is? Let's see. And this one was more pigmented. The first time I did over here, they had, you know, I hadn't used them in a while, so it wasn't coming out completely. This one, it did. So no bleed through or ghosting on that paper. And then onto this planner here, we have the play color dot being the one that I thought was going to bleed through the most, and that is true. So not too bad there. It does have some ghosting, not necessarily what I would call bleed through. When I hold it up to the light, you can see a little bit more, but when it's down, not really, no. So that's fabulous. I should be using these more. I don't know why. And they're kind of finicky, to be perfectly honest. You have to roll just right, or it makes like a weird, like some of these were kind of smudged and weird. So I don't know. I think that's why I stopped using them, but I probably should use them because I have all of them. All right, so these planners are pretty much pen test approved. I couldn't think of any other pens that I really needed to test on here. I tried to do a combination of regular pens versus, friction pen. So I didn't do a friction pen, but I did a friction stamp. I just wanted to see how well it erases, because a lot of this paper tends to be recyclable, and so it has a lot of little grooves, and sometimes it's hard to erase, but oh, sorry, I'm holding this and maybe you didn't even see that. Let me show you on here. Gosh, Sylvia, get your life together. I didn't want to get some of the pen on there. I kind of did a little bit, but it erases just fine on that one too. Then we have this last one here. I gotta use these more too. Just have them sit in a box. Yeah, so this erased pretty decently. I'm doing this with one hand so I can't hold. The planner's moving on me. But that looks pretty good. All right, guys. So that is the pen test. Oh my gosh, so which one was your favorite? Does this make you want to run from Walmart planners or go and check them out? You got 3 different sizes there with 3 different layouts, and some that start with a Sunday start, some with a Monday. What was your favorite planner? What did you like about them? What didn't you? Do you feel more comfortable now that we've gone through all of the 3 planners and I've showed you how you can change them and make them your own? I hope so. You should always make your planner work for you. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.